So hold on, Jake, do a check.
Mike, check 1, 2, 42.
That's 4.
6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7.
I hope that goes out with a new year.
Yeah, my Kaylin and
because it goes 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah. Oh no. Kaylin and her sister have a really good friend who's a teacher, and that's how every time she'll say something and try and pick on me or whatever, I'll just be like 6, 7, 6, 7, and it just pisses her off.
There was a kid in front of me at Target yesterday, and his mom rang up everything, and they were like 6677. He was like, so excited.
Oh, I love it. It's honestly just so funny. I just like doing the nose bleeding, and it's like 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, you know what I mean? Just like, I don't know.
Outside the den, inside the barn, Motor City Pride, we've been waiting long. Mic check 1, 2, hot test, boot tight, been breaking down plays every Sunday night. From the den we step to the barn we roll, analyzing film clips, how the story's told. Lions on the rise, not the same old crew. Golf slinging passes what we all
right, welcome back, One Pride, to episode 17, going into week 17 of the 2025 NFL season of Outside the Den, Inside the Barn, the podcast made by us Lions fans for all of you Lions fans out there. My name is Jake. Next to me is my big brother Josh. As you can see, as of right now, no cousin Lyle at the moment. Much like the ending of this past week's game, this episode's going to be a little chaotic. We're going to have some people kind of cut in and out. You're going to see it chopped up a bit. But with the holidays, once again, screw you, Roger, no balls, Goodell. We have a Christmas Day game.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. Am I right? Josh, you're dressed up as, looks like Santa Paws, I guess, or Santa Rory?
I don't know, something Santa Lion.
Yeah, Santa Lion. All right, I like it. But yeah, and I'm a piece of coal today because, that's how I'm feeling after this past week's game.
And it's a little foreshadowing of the gifts that'll be in the stockings of every single one of those stripes.
Absolutely. And so before we kick it off, we're going to go into our term of the week.
I pass the knowledge down to you. Break it simple, make it true. Every week we build.
And so for all of you fans out there, I'm going to throw out a term for you because you hear it at the high school level, you hear it now, and there is a secondary meaning. We're going to use the word whiteout. What is a whiteout? We actually saw a whiteout this past season, Thursday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. A whiteout in football simply means, teams generally wearing all white uniforms, and then they ask their fans to also wear all white. So you have a sea of people dressed in white to represent the just to kind of get that imposing presence.
Around the winter time when, you typically winter-like weather would create a whiteout where you really don't see anything. So.
Yeah, or if you tune into any Buffalo Bills football game, especially getting that Lake Erie lake effect snow, you'll see big snowfall. There's a very famous, so whiteout can also be referred to as just essentially them playing football in a blizzard. Mm-hmm. It is the holiday season. It is cold out here in Michigan. Not so cold in the barn though, so that's pretty nice. Good job on that, Santa.
Yeah, we're getting ready for our Christmas night watch party.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you can see, we're already Josh has been hard at work decorating. We got our tree with our Lions themed or Lions colored ornaments as well as lights. And it looks like we got Minnie and Mickey over there. I don't know if they're going to be in frame or not, as well as our beautiful backdrop.
For copyright reasons, but yeah.
Fair enough. So I'll leave that up to the editor and producer over here. But yeah, so let's go and talk about, unfortunately, we'll talk about it briefly, last week's game.
Montgomery running through the defensive wall. St. Brown catching every single call.
So unfortunately, this past Sunday, December 21st, in the 4:20 slot, the Lions at Ford Field fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, led by Coach Mike Tomlin, I believe in his 20th year, has not had a losing record. And as of right now, they are 3 games above 500. So it's looking very unlikely that they're going to – well, I don't think they can't actually be. So he secured himself another winning season. Former Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers was the Steelers quarterback this week. And unfortunately, the Lions did not look great on the day. They rushed for 18 yards. We have not seen a game like – I don't even remember in the 0-17 season. I don't know if we ever rushed for that little – or 0-16, sorry, yeah. changing up the games on me. But I don't even remember the worst team, one of the very worst teams in NFL history, rushing for 18 or less yards. So that's pretty insane. But yeah, so before we get too much into our takeaways from the game, we're going to talk about the stats once again from the Lions part. You saw Jared Goff throw the ball 54 times, completing 34 passes for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was sacked 3 times, still a 101.2 QBR. David Montgomery was our leading rusher, 4 carries for 14 yards for a 3.5 average. And superstar Jahmyr Gibbs, 7 carries for 2 yards for 0.3 a yard a carry. Jared Goff also had 1 rush for a -1 yard. Jamison Williams had 5 catches for 70 yards, no tutties. Jahmyr Gibbs did, in fact, get 10 catches for 66 yards, a touchdown. Khalif Raymond got 4 catches for 62 yards and a touchdown. St. Brown had 4 catches, 54 yards, no touchdowns. And then you saw Isaac Tesla with 4 catches, I believe a season high. I also believe season high in yards, 52 yards, as well as a very impressive touchdown catch over a defender using the claw to help secure the ball as he came down. As well as we saw Anthony Fritzker, a practice squad tight end, pulling in 4 catches for 40 yards. Shane Zylstra, 3 catches for 20 yards as well. Jack Campbell was everywhere on the field. Got a fumble recovery. He had 7 tackles on the day. And then other than that, we had I forget the guy's first name, Thomas Harper, backup safety, who's been covering for Kirby Joseph, forcing a fumble as well. And then I do not believe we had a single sack on the day, it looks like. Let me double check. No, sorry, I'm crazy. We had Aiden Hutchinson. At least in the first half, he looked back to form, 2 sacks right there. Other than that, nothing else too crazy. Tom Kennedy actually got a couple kick returns this time, 3 returns for 77 yards. Khalif Raymond had a couple punt returns, and then we had 1 for 1 on field goals for Jake Bates, 3 for 3 extra points, so he had a perfect day kicking. And then we had best punter in the league, Jack Fox, unfortunately punting 3 times for 159 yards, so that's a 53-yard average. Obviously a very disappointing game. Some of those stats sound more impressive than they are. A lot of those stats did come late into the game, especially in the offensive end. But Josh, you and I were both at the game this past Sunday. What was your kind of big takeaway from the game?
Well, I mean, it's, holiday season. It was great. The tree was up. Everybody was kind of in that festive spirit. I think, with us being favorites in that game, everybody thought we were coming out with a dub. And, I'll go back to my same old stick. The refs hosed us. I mean, you want to talk about, Raymond with his returns. I do recall one time where he got hit before the ball got to him. Mm-hmm. Where's the penalty? Not called. We'll go back to the obvious thing, and finally the NFL did punish him, but should they have punished him during the game? I don't know what the rules are, but, hey, we all know what that is. Whoop. There we go.
Yeah, DK Metcalf, the fan clearly said something, I would assume fairly derogatory, probably.
He called him by his name. That's the video shows that's what he called him by his and this is the term, maybe we should have thrown this on, government name. I never heard this before. But he called him
government name.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's a name his parents gave him, right? Yeah. The government didn't give him the name. But then apparently, the fan said his first and middle name, and he didn't like it, and he came over and grabbed him. And 3 different angles show that's exactly what was said. Chad Johnson and whoever else said that he said something derogatory, but there's absolutely 0 evidence of that on film. So, but regardless, why are you over on the sideline or over, by the fans? You need to be staying with your fans, with your team, and not going over to the side of the fans, particularly during the game. If you want to do it, after the game, sign autographs, whatever, that's perfectly fine. But what are you doing going over there? And
especially the game wasn't run away yet. I think it was 3-3 at the time.
Yeah, so it was definitely.
It was still very much a game. I mean, it was a game outside of the third quarter. The third quarter is the only time it really wasn't a game, and that's when the Steelers kind of started to run away with it. But I mean, there's a bunch of different things happening. Obviously, the big 10-minute. Powwow about whatever the heck happened in the end of the game there.
but that, should have never happened because we scored a touchdown on the previous play. And they called a pick play on Tesla, which, when you watch the video, you can clearly see the defender is grabbing Tesla because he got beat, point blank, no question about it. So, again, the NFL steps in and figures out a way to screw the Lions. I was just reading on social media earlier with some guy, said that this is, historical, or not historical. If you go back and look at all the calls against the Lions, you can clearly see there is a bias towards them, and it's unfortunate because they're ruining the game. The integrity of the game itself is in question, just based off of all that stuff happening. And it's sad that out of our games, 7 losses we have?
Yes, we are now 8-7.
Yeah, only 2 of those you can go back and look at and say, there wasn't really any call that made that game happen. But the other 5, without a doubt. Yeah. And it's just, it's sad. It's depressing. Shouldn't be depressed in this. So, try to lighten up the mood here a little bit. And, but my takeaways from the game was Goff, had to do what he had to do. We abandoned the run for some reason. And, maybe not for some reason. You could clearly see we weren't getting much on the ground. Demo obviously did, bust through the line a few times, but they had Gibbs's number, and we just had to make the adjustments. Unfortunately, the adjustments were Goff passing 54 times or whatever it was, and usually when Goff throws over 40, that's when we're in trouble. So.
Yeah, what kind of the big things, right? And I don't want to touch too much on the end of the game, as chaotic as it was, because as the pragmatic football fan I am, I can absolutely understand why a ref would have thrown those flags.
For the last one, yes.
The last one.
Yes.
The second one, or the previous play where it was the pick on Tesla where St. Brown did score the touchdown, I can understand why it looked like that. But, I saw Robert Griffin III, former Heisman winner, former first-round pick at the time, the Washington, their name prior to the football team. He even said this is why every play should be reviewable. And it's tough because if you do look at that, Rex Ryan, former New York Jets coach on ESPN, did in fact go to bat for the Lions, as he does often, because he will call out the refs because they can't fine him for calling out the refs like they can fine every other player or coach. But the big thing, right, is that he went off on it. And if you look at that replay, it does – the way that the play builds up, it looks like it could have been a pick. However, the Steelers defender is the one who instigates contact, and you can see Tesla trying to fight through the blockers. You said that they can make contact within 5 yards, right? So he is trying to fight through them, and the guy runs right into him, doesn't try and go around. In basketball, you say like in a zone, you have the help side, so it's obviously these guys are world-class athletes, right? It's so hard to be like, I got him, go, because, you can get the ball. Because Jared Goff has a pretty quick release. He has a quicker release than people think he does. But at the end of the day, it sucks to have a game come down to that. But what really sucks is how poorly the Lions played overall. The running game has been probably the single biggest strength of this team since the Dan Campbell era kind of hit off, or at least the first year or the second year of Dan Campbell, when we got Montgomery and we, drafted Gibbs and we kind of established that. And you're seeing that with inconsistent offensive line play. Big props to the Steelers defense, because this is very infuriating for me. It was very clear what they were doing, as we've seen the last couple of weeks, of just trying to stop Gibbs. Their whole defense was trying to stop Gibbs, because you have St. Brown on a down year, once again playing through potentially some unannounced injuries. And what they did is that because the Lions are so used to having a great offensive line, they have these long build-up runs. In Madden, you would say a halfback stretch, right? So it's usually going off tackle. You have to do the whole thing. And they're just shooting a guy off the edge. Alex Highsmith was a guy who made consistent plays on the outside. Jack Sawyer, rookie out of Ohio State, was a guy I wanted the Lions to draft, actually, and I believe it was the third round, the round we ended up getting Tesla. But there's just so many, like, they schemed it so well, and then we didn't see that tempo pick up until the game was almost completely out of the hands. And ultimately, the one silver lining to the Lions season being as it is that in the last couple of weeks we have not had to worry about how we look like when we win. We just have to win the game to get to the playoffs. And the truth of it is that the Lions, up until those last couple plays, did not really deserve to win that game with how poor we played. The defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. I mean, this was, we'll get into it. Hold on.
Okay.
We'll get into it. We'll talk a little bit more about this part in the casino when we review the casino. But, like, this was Aaron Rodgers' second game throwing over 225 yards. Jalen Warren ran for over 100 yards on them. They rushed for 140 yards on us. That is a very un-Lions line. We have not seen the Lions really give up rushing yards like that at all. And Jalen Warren's not a bad running back, but he is more of a middle-of-the-pack running back, and he looked like a stud against us. He looked like how you'd expected Saquon to look like in that Eagles game, and that's extra infuriating. And ultimately, my big rant coming for the end of the season is, it's stacking up and stacking up and stacking up, but the Lions, the thing is this is the NFL, right? Things happen. And honestly, through part of that game, it almost felt like they were looking out for us because they were actually throwing the flags. And there were penalties against I think there was one or two that was questionable that the Steelers maybe didn't do anything wrong.
I think it had more to do with it being the end of the game, and everybody's like, whoa, wait a second. All of a sudden we're getting calls at the end of the game. Maybe they are going to try to help us get down there. But there was a tripping call. It was a
no, absolutely. Those are the calls I'm talking about.
Pass interference, which
I'm not talking about those calls. I'm talking about earlier in the game.
Oh, earlier in the game.
But the biggest thing about that, right, is that you come down to it, the Lions had an opportunity to win that game anyway. Mm-hmm. And they were going to win that game with how they were moving the ball, how they were playing up-tempo. They got a couple, honestly lucky penalties committed by the Steelers because, we did unfortunately need a little bit of that help, that so many times the refs just given the other team to us. So it's just a big thing where the Lions, up until those last couple plays, in my opinion, did not deserve to win based off of performance. But that doesn't matter in the NFL because they had an opportunity to win. And the frustrating thing, too, is that they botched the call. And they can't review it. And obviously we didn't have I don't believe we had a timeout for those last couple throws in the goal line.
No, we didn't.
So we couldn't challenge it. But you can't challenge under 2 minutes anyway.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, that last call, me and Josh were there in the stadium. It took forever for them. They all convened together. Everybody was confused. Both teams were on the field. Jared Goff was about to crash out. Shout out to all our Zoomers fans out there. But it's just one of those things where it's like, what is going on? This is your job. And you just don't know what to do because clearly there was some dissension amongst the officials. They didn't know what to do. At that point, I'm like, just New York make the call. Mm-hmm. Or honestly, just have New York make these calls at the end of the game. Like, it sets a bad precedent. I don't think they wanted to either, but it's like they have all the angles. This game is so well documented. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you have a very good player who ended up slicing us up. So maybe this is a little bit of the pettiness coming out about like they should have thrown out DK, but it's like you can't take a swing on a fan. Mm-hmm. You can't. It reminds me just like the Matt LaFleur stuff. It's like, and
don't forget that the Steeler guy who flipped off our sideline, no penalty. Brian Branch gets ejected from the game for doing it.
So it's a thing where it's just frustrating because there is consistency in those ref calls, and it just seems the consistency is making calls that screw us out of a win. Yeah. Once again, performance-wise, Josh, I know you disagree with me to a certain extent. I don't think the Lions deserved to win that game, but they had an opportunity, and then the opportunity was taken from them. It felt like a cruel joke by the NFL and the officiating crew. It's like
they trolled us with that call.
Gave us hope. Never mind. Yeah. And then on top of that, the way that they announced it is the biggest.
Trolled us.
They trolled us. They're like the call on the field is a touchdown. However, it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What is going on? Yeah. So, regardless, I think human refs no longer should exist. I think that they can be there to help facilitate the play, but you see too many issues with these slow older gentlemen who just can't get to the ball and touch in time. We saw, we had a chance to try and go for a Hail Mary the previous week, completely negated because they had to wait for this older guy to run up and touch the ball, and you didn't see much hustle out of that guy. Yeah. And to be fair, that might not even be him. That might have been him hustling. Josh, you and I can't really run fast right now. It'd probably take us a while
run
to
faster
do that.
than that, dude. I would for the Lions for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But we wouldn't be allowed to ref that game. But at ultimately, at the end of the day, the Steelers ran all over us. We couldn't run back. We couldn't control the game. Jared Goff, generally, no matter Jared Goff's a hero. The way he collected that fumble and dove into the end zone to try and get that game winning, he's a damn hero, man. Like JG is my guy, and to me, he was probably the single player on the team that looked. I don't give any blame on this game to Jared Goff.
Not at all.
I put a lot of blame on our coordinators. I put a lot of blame on Dan Campbell, unfortunately, and a big part is just the defense. This is a middle of the pack Steelers team.
Yeah.
The Lions have a great offense, and they couldn't somehow figure out, oh, wait, they're just crashing a guy into the backfield to blow it up, and they're coming from the wide side. And it's like that alone can disrupt it, because if Jared Goff drops back, he's not a scrambler. If they weren't, it made no sense. And honestly, just give Montgomery the ball more, man.
Yeah.
Like we saw, he got a handful of carries. Not even a full handful of carries. He had 4 rushes. But if you get him past the defensive linemen, you get him past the 300-pound guys, he will punish linebackers. He will punish the safeties and corners. And you just got to give him an opportunity. And I think this is one of those games where they got to figure out. Gibbs is an electric player. He's one of the best running backs in football, but you got to figure out a way to shake it up. Montgomery doesn't have a lot of film on him right now, but last night would have been a great night to bust out Montgomery, because Gibbs wasn't doing it, or last game. Gibbs wasn't doing it. The offensive line wasn't doing it. The defense wasn't doing it, and that's just a melting pot of disaster waiting to happen. And now, once again, the Lions, they are not eliminated from the playoffs yet. But damn, they're close. They got, a 16%. I believe that the road to the playoffs right now is the Lions have to win against the Vikings on Christmas Day. They have to beat the Chicago Bears in Week 18. And then they have to hope Green Bay drops it. And Green Bay, Micah Parsons going to be out the remainder of the year, and a significant part of next year with an ACL injury. Hate the Packers. I like Micah as a player.
They might even be on their third quarterback.
They might even be on their third quarterback, with Malik Willis apparently shucking up in last week's game against, was it the Bears? Play the Bears, right? The Bears won in overtime. And so they're going to be potentially on a third-string quarterback. I believe they're out Christian Watson still, who's their top deep threat pass catcher. And Micah's gone. So, this really sets it up where the Lions just have to do their job and win the game. But I will say, I love this team. I think the pieces are there. But the big thing about it is I'm not very confident in this team in a playoff push. But the thing is, I still would rather make the playoffs every year we can, because that shows that gives every rookie class incoming experience in the playoffs. It gives them experience winning games and understanding what it takes to win a football game. Right? They don't come in and they're losing 17 or 15 games like the Giants are. So it's frustrating. It's infuriating. Every other synonym I could think of. But regardless, it is the week of Christmas.
Well, real quick, I do have a couple points I'd like to hit.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many offensive plays did the Steelers have?
Oh, man, they almost doubled our time of possession. It was bad.
But plays. I'm just looking at plays.
Yeah. I'm going to have to find that. Oh, 70. Oh, 70 to our 69.
Okay,
nice.
So not too far. Okay. And the score was 29, right? 3 of those.
29 to 24, yep.
3 of those scores were touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them were very long runs, and 1 of them was a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I go to, the defense played good enough to win except for 3 plays. And, hey, that's the NFL. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to offensive, our run game wasn't there. I think with Montgomery, his first couple runs, I think were up the middle, didn't accomplish anything. Matter of fact, I think they picked him up and dropped him 2 yards back.
Yeah.
So I can see why we kind of went away from it. However, I think our game plan might have been to get back into it until we started struggling.
Yeah. Until we drop far behind, and then it requires us to pass. Yeah, go ahead.
But the other thing I'd like to point out, too, is, and I saw it online, this is the first time in 30 years that back-to-back OPIs have been called at the last 30 seconds of a game or something like that. Something crazy, okay? So we had 2 OPIs in the last 2 plays of the game. Guess how many defensive pass interference our wide receivers have now?
As was it still 3 and
4.
3 seasons?
I think it's 4 now.
4 and 3 seasons. It's crazy.
Yeah. nuts.
Three
Okay,
of them, I think.
And on top of it, that one to JMO, I was watching the ref that actually threw the flag.
Mm-hmm.
He sat there with his hand in his pocket for it seemed like eternity.
Yeah.
Before he finally decided, I better throw this or the jig's up. So it when that was the drive. I think that everybody's like, well, maybe the refs are helping us, but the tripping call was legit. We saw it. The guy stuck his leg out. I mean, in the replay, you can see it. Pass interference. Everything was clicking. Everything was happening. And honestly, most of the NFL games in history, I think, are usually a one-score difference. Okay? So when people say, hey, guess what? You got to overcome the play. Well, it's hard for the Lions to overcome the play, particularly when it's in the last couple plays of the game.
Where we can't do anything to.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, I hate to be Mr. Grump, but, refs, I'm going to continue to blame you until you finally fix your problem.
Yeah. And
this little collective bargaining or whatever you got coming at the end of the season, you better get it right because you know what? When the replacement refs were there, if I remember correctly, they were making the right calls. And the NFL got scared, and they quickly rushed through the bargaining agreement because it was screwing up their plan for the other teams. And I still contend that what's going to happen this upcoming week is we're backs to the walls once again. Green Bay is going to lose their next game. We're going to beat the Vikings. And Chicago's going to do whatever they're going to do. But
it doesn't matter at this point, yeah.
They've already clinched.
Yep.
So what's going to happen is Green Bay is going to lose their final game. And I don't know, do they play before or after us? Well, we don't know yet.
It's not yet, yeah.
Yeah, so
they wait till this week's done.
Yeah, so what they're going to do is they're going to flex that game till after the Packers game. So it's basically winning in for us.
Yeah, against our former offensive coordinator.
Yes, this is the script that was set up at the beginning. When everybody looked at that schedule and said, why are we playing the Bears in the final season of the game, or final game of the season, when last year they were garbage, we were 15-2. It made no sense. Mm-hmm. It literally made no sense. You can unless you go with the alternate.
It should have been realistically going into the season. It should have been the Packers,
right?
Or even the Vikings because the Vikings
were so close.
14-3 last year.
Yeah.
Just literally one loss to the Lions. Well, really two, but 2 losses to the Lions is the only reason why they weren't the 1 seed.
Yeah. The alternate reality would be, well, maybe it's because they were setting it up so that they knew we would be in the playoffs and we could rest our starters in the final game of the season. Which, guess what? Dan Campbell does not do that.
Yeah.
We know that. So that's why it goes back to coincidence? I think not. And conspiracy theories out there are just they're there for a reason.
Yeah. And then very last comment before I think I hear Cousin Lyle coming in. And the Lions for the first time. Oh, wow. I was just kidding about that.
Timing.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
It might be locked. Oh, no, there he is.
But yeah, so this is the Lions' first time since 2022 losing 2 games back-to-back in the same regular season. Yeah. But hey, Cousin Lyle's here.
Woo! I made it.
Right. That's good. Maybe this episode will be a little less chaotic. But Cousin Lyle, first of all, before we get into the casino, Josh and I already talked. What was your takeaway from the game? Obviously, Josh and I were at the game. There, amongst the confusion and the anger that had the whole crowd seething. But yeah, so what was your take from home? What was your opinion of kind of everything? Do you have any takeaways from the game you want to briefly touch on?
Yeah, just
and how did the broadcast treat everything? That's actually what I'm really curious about.
It was funny how many times Tony Romo called Jared Goff an MVP candidate. That was kind of weird. I mean, he was having a good game, and he's had a good year.
I mean, statistically, he's kind of up there,
right?
But,
it was that part was funny as far. But the broadcast, they were, they would. Oh well, I guess that makes sense. That kind of makes sense. I don't know about that. They were pretty neutral about it, and it was fine. It was me that was struggling to find positivity throughout the game. Then the plays at the end of the game, I'm laying on the ground. I don't know how many different positions I had. It was definitely not just me reclining in my chair going, okay, this is a football game. Yeah. It was me, up, down, on the floor, laying down, face down.
A lot of Tyler going, Dad, stop swearing.
Tyler was downstairs. He knew better. He knew he wasn't going to.
To give us a visual, was it kind of like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom after he had the Kali Mile drink?
Yeah, I mean, it was just
sitting there spasming.
It was, my heart was definitely getting ripped out of my chest.
Yeah.
But
you should be used to that as a Lions fan. But.
Yeah, and in the end, that's what it felt like as we were waiting for the final determination. I knew whatever was going to happen, it wasn't going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was just hilarious when they announced that it was a touchdown and everybody gets a chance to cheer before the refs say, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, however,
which, and we were saying that they were just trolling us because, as somebody who does, recognize forward progress.
Yeah.
Or what was the other one? There was I know there's forward progress was one of them. I get just OPI.
Yeah, just basically that OPI ends the game.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And it was funny though, talking about the broadcast again because you guys can't hear it, but so many mentions of Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary. They kept saying, "Oh, this is the end of the field that he made the Hail Mary."
Yeah.
And they kept talking about it, and then the Gainwell play, which literally showing in the replay him laying on the ground and the ball hits right on his arm. I mean, the chances of that from 35 yards out. I know that quarterbacks are very accurate, but to predict that he was going to get thrown down by Anzalone, be laying on the ground, and it would land right there in his hand. Unbelievable.
I'm not even mad about that one. That's more just wow. Imagine if he was just twisted a little bit more to the left or right. You might doesn't make that catch.
Or they just rule it a touchdown automatically.
Yeah, it was a difficult watch. It was again very reminiscent to me of watching the Giants game. Same thing except that we won that game in the last seconds instead of losing it.
And we kind of we could run the ball that game.
Yeah, that was a major difference. But we were, it was one of those things that's like, how are we in position to win this game? And unfortunately, they didn't come through in this one. So very similar to that, very similar to the way that I felt, in Minnesota. Just too many games like this year where it just felt like the Lions were not doing what we've gotten used to them doing. And in the end, they still had a chance to win. This time, it didn't come through for them.
Yeah. So.
Put your money where your mouth is. I'll get all of that. Just so tell me now, are you feeling lucky, Paul?
With that, and at the risk of repeating ourselves, we are gonna step on into the smoky. We're kind of entering it more a midday. Not only are we recording a little earlier than normal, but let's say we're going on a Tuesday. You see all the retirees kind of sad, just pressing the slot machine over and over again as we head on into Cousin Lyle's Casino. Yeah, Cousin Lyle's Casino. Yay! Christmas casino time.
Christmas casino, I like it.
On the phone, we have Sister Steph.
Hi, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah. All right, Stephanie. So our wonderful little sister Stephanie, living currently, and we'll talk more about it hopefully if you call in next week, but living in enemy territory in Chicago, not Minnesota. But she is back home, unable to join us on the set today, but she's going to call in just in time for Cousin Lyle's Casino. So Cousin Lyle, sorry for interrupting so much. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, we're going to get started on this once and for all. I am going to recap last week, though. So this was just me, Jake, and Josh.
You're Lyle.
Yeah, I'm Lyle. Going through this one here. Week 16 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. First question that we had was Ayahuasca, Aaron, over or under 225 yards passing? Yeah. So, again, we were looking at whether Aaron Rodgers was going to have over 225 yards passing. He did end up with over 225 yards, ended up with 266 yards on 27 completions out of 41 attempts there. Was really not doing a whole lot there until that miracle pass in the first half.
Jalen Warren was kind of cooking. So.
And then he started completing a lot of medium throws here, getting a lot of first downs and starting to control the clock there. So he did get over 225 yards passing, which is what me and Jacob predicted. Josh, you were under on that one, so you're down already as we start the casino.
Back to my old ways.
That's right. Number 2 is not going to make you feel any better. Tackling machines, more combined tackles between Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone, or Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen for the Steelers. So just to let you guys know, Peyton Wilson had 5 tackles in this game. Patrick Queen had 7 for 12 total tackles. Our man, Jack Campbell, 16 total tackles on his own.
Every time on the Jumbotron, you just saw him come in and like, yep, okay.
I told you I took the best linebacker in football.
I don't know what my strategy on that one was.
So he had 16. Anzalone had 8 himself, so they well outpaced. And that probably is not a good thing when you think about it in terms of how much time the defense was out there.
The linebackers are the guys on the defense supposed to be making the tackles. Generally, you're more concerned when the corners or safeties are your leading tacklers. But regardless, it's still not good if Campbell has to make all of those because he does play off ball. So
right. So 24 tackles for the Lions as opposed to 12. They doubled up the Steelers here. So that means, again, me and Jake, we took the Lions on this one. Josh took the Steelers, so 0 for 2 so far here. But good news coming up for Josh here, where we had taken different ones. The real dynamic duo on Detroit's offense this year, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, over or under 15 combined catches.
I don't like getting this one right.
Yeah, this was a bit of a rougher one here. We had, again, Amon-Ra had been averaging over 7 catches a game. Jameson Williams had been averaging 7 catches a game for the last 3 or 4 games in a row. But in this game, Amon-Ra only 4 catches, Jamo only 5 catches. So a total of 9 catches there, which means that, Josh, you took the under there, and you were correct. Jake, you had taken the over. I had taken the even.
Boo!
Trying to shoot the moon.
The centrist over here. Boo!
And I got burned for it. So Josh gets the point on that one. And then finally, who scores more? Lions and Steelers combined game points, or Michigan State University first half points in men's basketball on Saturday, the game that I attended.
Against Jokeland.
And it wasn't a great game either, so it might be a thing we talked about last week. But nonetheless, the Lions and Steelers had combined 53 points in the game. Michigan State only scored 39 in the first half, so Lions easily covered that one, which is what I had taken there. Josh and Jake, you had both taken Michigan State. So on the week, Jake, 2 out of 4. I had 3 out of 4. Josh, right back where you belong, 1 out of 4 on that one.
Well, there's one more question.
There is one more question, and I need to get the answer, the clarity on this, although I think I have a feeling.
Okay, so
this went. Josh is 1.5 over/under on refs you suck chance.
And drum roll.
I heard one right behind me. It started to catch, but it didn't take over like it was. But technically, it did count. Now, when I didn't clarify is if it happened during the game, because apparently, as Jake was walking out
after the game
in the atrium, it did start. So that would technically be over. So I don't remember what we all had.
We all said over. So I think we're going to take credit for both of those on that. So we all get a point on that.
Glad we didn't move the
look
line
at that, 2 out of 5
right.
for Josh.
Technically, the Steelers on the day had more penalties. So
Yeah,
but again, it's when it matters.
Sometimes the timing of it makes a lot more difference. So
holding. Never mind. I'm not even going to continue the phone.
But it is a new week. We're going into the Christmas season. The Lions and Vikings are going to be playing a Christmas Day game, so we're going to go into the casino. Like you said, the sports book's a little light right now. Most of the people that are in the casino are out there throwing their nickels and dimes into the slots here. So we've got full control of the sports book to make these bets. And Stephanie, you're going to be joining on with us here.
Woohoo!
All right, ready to go. I hope you know your Vikings. Number 1, restore the run. Detroit Lions, are they going to get over 100 rushing yards in this game? So on the season, the Lions are averaging 123.4 rushing yards per game as a team. So that's well over 100. In the last 3 games, only averaging 64.7. That's the worst in the league, by the way. And against Pittsburgh, to bring it up again, 12 carries, 15 yards. That is the worst rushing output in the Dan Campbell era. So are we going to bounce back this week is the question for you guys. Restore the run. Detroit Lions over 100 yards rushing as a team, over or under. We're going to start, as always, with Jake.
So I do think that the Vikings have a more volatile defense, especially since, we lost the Steelers without TJ Watt, who is one of the premier edge rushers in football. Once again, one of the very few players I would say is better than Aiden Hutchinson at that position. However, the Lions need to do it. They are going to lose every game. They can't at least rush for a respectable amount. And I think I've been saying it almost like every week now, but I just got to believe in it, so I'm going to say over.
All right, Jacob going on faith, it sounds like to me, but nonetheless, taking the over.
This season.
Josh, are you going to agree with him?
I'm going to agree with him. I think I'm not sure about Glasgow's situation. Is he back?
Hadn't heard, I'm not even sure what the predicted practice report was yet.
Okay, so, just based on, it is a short week, yeah, it's a bit tough to, I'm just going over because I do think, like Jake said, they need to do it. And plus it gives another, handful of days for that current line to, start gelling a little bit.
And they
better,
played against Flores so many times over the last couple of years. They play him twice a year, and this defense quite a bit. And they got a lot of film on top of experience. So in theory, it shouldn't take as long to game plan for a team that they played again. Go ahead, Lyle. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. All right, Steph, you heard your much, much older and we'll just say they're older brothers. The question is, are they wiser? Are you going to agree with these two?
I am. And I thought about this long and hard because I feel like if I'm going to make money off gambling, I'd rather make money off optimism versus cynicism, I think. And I had a really tough trip to Ford Field watching them.
Also at the game.
Yes, I was pretty sad. Jake was there for all the ups and downs of my emotions. So I'm deciding that it's not going to go like that on Christmas, and I think we're going to get our rushing game back. So I'm going over.
All right.
Love it.
So we've got 3 Tkachuk overs here. You know what that means.
You got to save the graphic.
All right. I am going to take the under. I do think there's definitely some
and I'm
some
the
trends.
piece of coal over here.
There's definitely some trends that suggest that this is a decent pick on my side of things. The offensive line, like you just said, we don't even know who's going to be playing in the interior right now. They were rotating them in and out so much in that last game. You couldn't even the announcers couldn't keep track of which one was the center at that point, at a certain point. So I do think Minnesota's defense is tough. The Lions are trending in the wrong direction, so I am going to take the under, and it is unfortunately not just to save the graphic. All right, so number 2 question on the board. Is he a good quarterback? My German friends say 9. JJ quarterback rating over 90 in this game.
I'm going to go. He's not going to have.
So there's a question about this. Could be disqualified. So on the year, among 37 qualified quarterbacks, J.J. McCarthy has the lowest quarterback rating in the league at 71.2, 37 out of 37. Last week against the Giants, he was 9 for 14 for 108 yards and an interception, which equals a quarterback rating of 58. Now, again, the status for J.J. is questionable in this game, so if this rolls over to Max Brosmer, I'm still continuing this one. Will Max Brosmer get over a 90? Just to let you know, on the year, 41.1 QB rating. I don't care. I still wonder, with Detroit's D, if this is still a possibility for him. So with this in mind, J.J. McCarthy being the focal point of being over or under a QB rating of 90, but Max Brosmer, if he is going to have to be in this game, we're still going to roll with it, and we're going to start with Josh. Do you think QB1 and or QB2 for Minnesota can get a quarterback rating over or under 90?
Okay. Don't know. If this was online, I said he was ruled out. Lions will be facing Bosmer. So 9. We'll get 9. But in regard
9, I don't know if that's possible. But
no,
it's like the SAT, right? You get 5 points.
Well, again, I think there's at least 2 games this season where if he spiked the ball every single play,
he would have had a better rating.
He would have had a better. That's 2 games. That's sad.
Yeah.
But I don't have much hope for Bosmer. I think there'll be a couple plays to probably Jefferson and whatever, but I don't think he's gonna. What was the rating again?
Quarterback rating of 90. He's on the year. He's 41.1. So
no,
well
not a chance. Not a chance. If Bosmer or freaking Rudolph comes in and throws for him, it's not gonna happen.
All right. So Josh is going under no matter who's playing there. Gonna roll it over to Stephanie. Steph, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go under 2. It's not gonna be a Christmas miracle for the Vikings. Under.
Excellent.
Oops, wrong one.
That was a smackdown from Steph on that one.
Smack-down Steph.
All right. Jake, we got 2 unders on the board. What say you?
'Tis the season. JJ McCarthy won a national championship, but he might not be playing. Brosmer, there's a reason why he's not a starting quarterback in the National Football League. The Lions defense is damn atrocious, and it's very, very possible. Can he do it? Yes. Will he do it? No. He being either or. So I'm going to go with under.
Under.
Or not 90, yeah.
Again, we are family in the house here. So
'tis the season.
Leaving it to the lone Warren boy up here to be the bad guy. And you know what? There's a reason that, The Grinch is one of the most famous Christmas movies of all time. Put me down as the Grinch. I will save the graphic. I will say over here.
He's just jealous he doesn't have the cool last name that nobody can say.
Yeah, that's right.
And I will go. Do you guys get a lot of? Do they miss the T, or do they just not even?
I've actually seen it. Some people start it with GR, which I don't know where that comes from. But
the all-time worst one, and Josh, you may have been at this game when I was in 7th grade. We were playing Morris Middle School. They just announced these. Yeah, right. Well, I did score 2 touchdowns that season, but as a quarterback, says the fat guy over here. No, they announced like the rosters for each team. This is the worst pronunciation I've ever heard. They said Jacob, Texas.
Ooh,
Texas.
I don't know if I knew that one.
There's only 10.
I will never forget that because I remember even as being a 7th grader, I was like, what?
There was 10 kids that went through with the same last name. 10.
Well, they didn't know any of them.
Which is one more than 9.
Yeah, true.
9-10.
All right. Open season, Cousin Lyle?
Yeah, so next one, open season. Vikings over or under on sacks in this game, over or under 2.5. So on the year, Minnesota, they're averaging 2.67 sacks a game, a little bit over 2.5. Minnesota has 7 players with 3 sacks or more, but nobody has more than 6.5, which is actually Eric Wilson, a linebacker for them that you wouldn't expect would be leading the team in sacks with some of the players that they have. There are some players that are, I think, questionable in this game. I think Renard is out, if I recall.
That's a huge
correctly.
loss for him.
Jared Goff has taken 31 sacks on the year, which is basically 2 sacks a game.
Rough.
Mostly because he does a really good job of getting rid of the ball. We know it's not about his mobility here. So The question here, open season, are the Minnesota Vikings going to get over, under, or there's the always popular even sacks, 2.5. We get to start with Steph on this one.
Oh, yeah, you can actually do even on this one. You can get a half sack.
Absolutely.
Well, I think I'm going to stick with my optimism train because I did not really call in so you guys could hear my interesting critical analysis of the NFL and the different teams. Really, I'm trying to bring that Lions fan enthusiasm. So
yeah,
I'm going. What is it? What would it be under? I already forgot.
You want to go if you're Lions optimistic, you want to go under 2.5.
So that would be they get 2 sacks or less.
I'm going under 2.5. In fact, I'm going to say 0 sacks on the game.
Nice.
Ooh, I like it.
Throwing up a goose egg, which has happened this year, although I think it's been a while.
It's going to happen again on Christmas.
All right, Jacob, what do you say?
Theo. It's the time of miracles.
I was waiting for that one.
Tis the season, Cousin Lyle. Yes. Tis the season, Cousin Lyle. The Lions have shown that they can or almost win a game by losing the sack battle, but they really do need to protect Jared Goff, and I do think the Lions are going to be able to reestablish the run. I don't necessarily just think that, but they need to, so I'm going to say also under 2.5. I actually like 1.5 sacks.
1.5. That's not the lock of the week, but it is a prediction from Jake. So we've got 2 unders on the board. Josh?
We're going to go with a Tkachuk trifecta on this one, man.
All right.
Oh, you wrote that down for yourself.
Well. Wow, look at this. You guys are just making me play the bad guy every time.
Lyle, come to the dark side. I mean the light side. The Honolulu blue side.
The right side.
Yes. You know what? I wrote down under already. I'm going to make it a clean sweep across the board.
Yeah.
We're all under 2.5 sacks.
Theo. It's the time of miracles.
That's right.
The third time will be even funny.
Well, we all know how South Park does it, right?
I'm pretty sure Hans Gruber was a Vikings fan. Finally, number 4, aerial support team. The combined catches for Anthony Ferkser, Shane Zylstra, Isaac Tesla, over 6.5 in this game.
Ooh.
So just to say, last game, as our best point of reference, since that was maybe the first or second. I think that was the second game that all three of them played together at some point. Anthony Ferkser, 4 catches on 4 targets. I think they were all in the first half. People were calling him Gronk-like at some point, but then he disappeared for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's like they stopped playing him for some reason. I don't know.
That's right. Shane Zylstra had 3 catches on 5 targets. Not a bad showing there. Isaac Tesla, 4 catches on 7 targets, 1 touchdown, and 1 very questionable OPI.
Oh, I thought we were already over that. But
so just to bring it back just a touch. So,
dude, we've been talking about the Calvin Johnson catch for how many years now?
Right.
We're never over it.
I will say I think the last series there on the goal line will, just like the Calvin Johnson catch, will forever chemically alter my brain.
Yeah.
So if you combine their catches from last, that's 11 catches in the last game. All I'm asking for is over 6.5 here, fellas. Jake, going to go back to you to start this one off. Is that trio going to get 7 or more catches in this game?
By saying under, it sounds like a negative thing, but they're going to reestablish the run. St. Brown, once again, is going to take it pretty serious. He on these little kind of revenge games, or he's very good at putting a chip on his shoulder. He takes it personally. And then it's the Vikings again. So I'm going to actually say under because I do think we're going to get our running game back. I think we're going to get St. Brown back as to form as we can with once again my tinfoil hat theory of him playing with some undisclosed injuries. So, but yeah, I'll say under.
All right, so an under from Jacob on this one. Josh, what do you think?
To keep it all in the family and thinking maybe Steph's going to go with us, I'm going to go with under as well. That's only logic.
All right, it's been a clean sweep on every question so far. Steph, are you going to continue the trend or are you going to buck it?
I was thinking about messing with it, but now I feel like I don't want to mess with it. I feel like hopefully the magic, us 3 coming together, can really will all of these into existence.
Yeah,
so you know what? Under.
Yeah.
Right.
You know who's going to get? I think Demo is going to have a big game. So
I love it.
Yeah, that would
he
be
deserves
great.
one.
He did post something on Instagram that was a bit
sad,
weird.
Yeah, it's been a rough
season for him.
4, 5, 6
Yeah.
season for Demo, no doubt. So it's the Tkachuk trifecta once again.
I love it.
And this time I will go against it. I'm going to go ahead and say over.
Boo.
Let's see if we can get Isaac Tesla to have just a breakout game. And
We're still looking for that two-tutty Tesla.
Yeah, watch what you're saying there.
Exactly. It's a tongue twister.
It's some kind of twister. Anyways, I've got the over.
And somebody's like, God, these men.
Sorry. But we are going to go over on that one, which means that I am going against the 3 Tkachuk children. So that is the casino for this week. Thank you so much for joining us, Steph. And as always, may Lady Luck follow you wherever you may go.
Yeah, Cousin Lyle's Casino.
Montgomery running through the fence and wall. St. Brown catching every single call. Playoff bound now.
All right, so much to our to the disgruntlement, frustration of us, because once again the NFL doesn't seem to care that we all have traditions and we all have family to see, and we want to be with our loved ones on this holiday season. The Detroit Lions have a game this upcoming December 25th, Christmas Day. I believe it's at 4:00, right? 4 o'clock
Yes.
game. Yep. So 3:00 for those in Minnesota, but who cares about those folks? I'm just kidding. The people in Minnesota are just fine. Minnesota.
Well, they're very nice people, don't you know?
True.
Except for when we're kicking their pregnant wives down the stairs, apparently.
Allegedly. But yeah, so the Detroit Lions, now this is a scary line right here. So the Detroit Lions open up as a -7 flat. So no, you could lose on the hook there if you bet this. But a -7.5, so they're favored by a touchdown and an extra point in this game. The pretty significant money line, they're -370 total points. Significant drop from the last couple weeks we've seen. You see an over 43.5 line. Now, once again, the Lions letting up a lot of points, one of the bottom tier teams as far as points allowed this season. But the Vikings are also one of the lowest scoring teams. They have very poor quarterback play, despite having a very dynamic wide receiver duo, a very serviceable tight end, and a solid running back room. But the Vikings are really led by a really stout defense, coached by Brian Flores, which we have seen some pretty interesting duels over the last couple years between them and the Detroit Lions. But once again, the Lions open up as a favorite. They were a favorite last week, and we know how that went. You will see this is pretty interesting. Still not positive money, but for the touchdown scores, top 3 touchdown scores for the Lions, we'll go with number 3, David Montgomery at plus 140 to score a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown plus 110 to score a touchdown. And one of the lowest lines I've seen, still minus 195, Jahmyr Gibbs. He has been hovering at minus 200, minus 300 for a touchdown because he's just been so automatic this season. As well as a quick highlight, he did in fact pass Barry Sanders' record for most touchdowns in the first 3 seasons.
And they did announce that on the Jumbotron.
They did announce that near the very end of the game, and he was in the middle of the huddle. He did not care. He was in game mode. But yeah, so nonetheless, we're going to talk about our matchups here, and I am going to start with Stephanie, because to give her the most possible options, and Stephanie can go as broad or precise with this as it is. You could even say the pregame fits. Who's gonna show up more festive? Who's gonna show up more stylish? Or even they got some nice long hair on both teams. So, but Stephanie, what is a matchup you think that we should all look forward to on Christmas Day?
I guess I don't know how to phrase the matchups like you guys, but like mostly I'm looking forward to seeing Amon-Ra's reception game. I really want to see him catching like he was prior in the season. So I guess maybe like what would that be, the Vikings secondary against him? Is that right?
That is correct,
Okay.
Stephanie. The Vikings have a couple players on their team that can play pretty well. Isaiah Rodgers is having a great season. He's probably been their corner one. They have had a couple players. I think Harrison Smith is still in their safety, or did he retire?
I think so. Yeah, he's limping around
Yeah,
back there somewhere.
As well as over the last couple of years, they've had a really strong linebacking core. So, which once again, that they're in the middle of the field. That's where St. Brown tends to do his best work, is either on and out or over the middle of the field. So, St. Brown had 4 catches last week, Steph. I think that's a great one because he is the bell cow of the Lions wide receivers, and he will get the ball thrown to him 10 to 14 times a game. So I think that's a good one, and it's going to be really important because when you lose your wide receiver one impact, that's very huge, and we're seeing that with the Vikings this year. Justin Jefferson, big fan of him as a player. He's led me to many fantasy football wins. He is also, because of him being my keeper, he is having such a down year with such poor quarterback play that I have just barely avoided the toilet bowl in my fantasy football league because he is not getting the numbers he wants. So we can see so definitely the Lions have the advantage in terms of quarterback compared to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, who they're receiving passes from. But that is a very important point to bring up and matchup to bring up, is just, can the Lions wide receivers, especially Amon-Ra St. Brown, do it against our?
I feel like especially because I've been feeling like, I don't know, there's like a couple of obviously major players on our team, but I feel like I look to him a lot and his confidence, like, his celebrations and just the way that he feels playing the game is how I feel watching the game. I feel like consistently since he's been on the team, I feel like I look to him. And so I'm just really excited, hopefully, for him to kind of bounce back, because I think I feed off his energy major when I'm watching the game, and would love to see him get some more receiving yards.
Yeah, the Lions definitely have a couple spark plugs on their team. Montgomery and Gibbs, when they score, it's exciting. They always have some fun celebration. You never know what Waymo's going to do. You never know if it's going to be family friendly, or you never know. And then St. Brown always has some
possibly finable, whatever it is,
celebration. So, all right, down over there to you, brother Josh.
I like Steph's matchup. Maybe it's symbolic. We're playing the Vikings. I think the big, turning the corner was that touchdown that Amon-Ra had against the Vikings at home.
2021, yep.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good thing to celebrate. I can't even remember what week that the season was.
It was like week 14 or 15.
Yeah,
it was
towards the end.
The season, yeah.
So, I mean,
it was like week 13.
I like that matchup. I'll go with, 2 matchups, our secondary versus Jefferson again, just to see what's going on.
And Addison's pretty good, and Hawkinson's pretty good, and
Yeah. But and then the other one, I would like to see a matchup between, Snoop Dogg's doing the halftime show.
Yeah.
That I'd like to see the matchup between him and whoever he's selling to on the sideline. Hopefully he's on the Vikings side.
Yeah,
so.
I believe in during the game we're also getting the voices of Huntrix from K-pop Demon Hunters, which will be pretty fun, especially for our wonderful nieces and me, because I do enjoy that movie. It's pretty good.
Oh.
So it is good. Don't knock it till you try it. But Cousin Lyle, how about you?
Yeah, so after watching last week, I'm going to be really interested to see what the Lions can do against the Vikings running game. They have a pretty good duo on the Vikings side between, they got Jordan Mason there, and then, of course,
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones coming over.
Aaron Jones still a pretty good receiving back for being ancient.
Receiving back, still got some explosive to him. He got a lot of wiggle. And just the way that, unfortunately, the Lions were giving up the line of scrimmage in that last game makes me wonder, because I think that Minnesota's a better rushing team than Pittsburgh is. So I do want to see a little bit more stout defensive line play. I want to see
from the interior, which is supposed to be a strength on it.
Yeah, we're talking DJ Reader and we're talking Aleem McNeil. Those are supposed to be some of the cornerstones of our defense there. They're supposed to be the team that stops the run first, and then, from there, everything successful on defense, because what they're going to be doing at that point. That kind of got flipped on the Lions in the last few games here, where now all of a sudden the opponent's defense is dictating what the Lions are doing. So I want to see us get back to, okay, we're going to stop that run. We're going to make sure that they're getting hit early and often, and force a very weak quarterback position to that went flying. A quarterback position to win the game there. So it's going to be imperative that we stop the run. That's really what I want to see in this game.
Yeah, and I agree, and I'm going to flip the script a little bit. We need to see our offensive line play. I'm a former lineman. I know how tough it is to play in the trenches. However, once again, if Grenard's out, that's a huge boon. But with how this offensive line's played, they just need to play better. Protect Goff more. Let him go to work. Let our running backs get in the game. I think I've already said it on the podcast. I said it to Stephanie. I've said it to both of you at different times over the last season. Montgomery's been struggling because of a poor offensive line, but if you can get him past the defensive line, he's going to punish whoever he's running up against. His center of gravity, he hits hard. He's agile. He's slippery. And obviously Gibbs just needs a little bit of just a little bit of space to get moving. I mean, he even had a couple plays where it was probably going to be a big run. I know there was one where he kind of spun out of a tackle, but then the guy grabbed his shirt, and then, it just prevented him from going anywhere. And, obviously, just as far as the air game goes, we're playing in a dome, which will be huge. But it all starts at the offensive line. It all starts at the line of scrimmage. Can we dictate the game on offense? Can we give our defense a breather so that we don't have to worry about Justin Jefferson finally breaking out of this slump, or this wide receiver core breaking out of their slump, and giving Brosmer what was his name, Matt Flynn type game? And so, not to bring that back up, but I remember watching that in the other barn right over there. I remember watching that. Will never forget that 5-touchdown, 380-yard game when he had.
And hence another reason why all scoring plays are now reviewable.
What did that give? Did Flynn end up making $50 million off of that game? Something like that.
Something like that, and then he
lasted the season.
Did nothing else. Because I think he ended up also. Mike White had a similar thing where he had a Linsanity run. Shout out Jeremy Lin, former New York Knick. But he had a Linsanity run, got some decent money to go to, I think, the Jets, and then just was dog water. Mm-hmm. But those are our matchups for the game. Obviously there's a lot of important matchups here, but when you have a team playing very inconsistently on both sides of the ball, as the Lions have had this season, there are a lot of matchups we have to win in order to win that game. So, so we are going to transition again to... Time for Jake's lock of the game. Cousin Lyle, I'm not going to make you do it. So I try to go with the trend of Jahmyr Gibbs having, an off game, a crazy good game, an off game, a crazy good game. Jahmyr Gibbs did score a touchdown. He also rushed for 2 yards in this game. He caught 10 passes for 40 yards. Not a great game for Jahmyr Gibbs. He did get a touchdown.
I was going to say
there was an opportunity. There was an opportunity to
like
get
Bon Jovi said, you were halfway there.
I was halfway there. I was living on a prayer, especially towards the end of the game, because we had the opportunity. It took me a second to get there, but I got there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ride the hot hand, because we're finally seeing, shout out, friend of the show, Tyler Brown, always representing, wearing his jersey. I'm going to say Isaac Tesla is going to get another one. So they're finally starting to utilize him a little bit, even with Khalif Raymond back and Khalif Raymond making some big plays here and there. I'm going to say Isaac Tesla anytime touchdown. I really wanted to go Fursker, but I think that is just so much tight end by committee, and they clearly pulled him after having a pretty decent first half as far as just making catches and getting over the line of scrimmage, getting some first downs. So we're not even going to sugarcoat it, just Isaac Tesla anytime touchdown. You can get that probably pretty high up there. Let me just double check the sports book super quick.
What is he at? Like 12, 14 catches, but 5 touchdowns, something like that.
Really quick, Tom Kennedy anytime touchdowns is plus 2,000. Little fun fact. But
Somebody might be interested
Isaac
in that.
Tesla,
I'd like to see him house one.
Isaac Tesla, or Tesla, or whatever, Coleslaw himself, Mayotron. He's actually at plus 390. It's actually his odds are shooting up there because he's finally getting the ball thrown to him. But to Isaac Tesla anytime touchdown right now, we're recording the day before Christmas Eve. You can get that at 390 at most sportsbook. That is Jake's lock of the game.
Click.
Okay. Oh, and Stephanie, before we cut to go to score predictions, do you have any thoughts on Isaac Tesla scoring a touchdown this upcoming Christmas Day?
I'm feeling really good about it. I feel like it was really exciting to watch him get more attention. That was probably like the one positive takeaway from Steelers for me. So
I mean, almost making
I'm putting money
catch on the jump there. That was, you would add that 2-tutty game after that.
He would have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So no.
I was gonna say, yeah. And the way he clawed that ball, like, I believe in him. I'll probably put some money down on that, Jake.
There you go. All right. And then, so now let's go as we keep trugging along here.
Something's gonna rise. We're gonna feast. We're gonna feast.
We're going to go into our score predictions going into this game. Obviously, the Lions, for the first time since 2022, have lost 2 back-to-back games. They are now playing as what we call the Steelers as a middling team. The Vikings on the year have been relatively a bad team on the year. But the Vikings also did have a pretty big win against us earlier this season, which has caused a lot of issues as far as our seeding, our record. Now we're in a point of contention. Made that Vikings game even more of a must-win in retrospect. But we're going to go through our score predictions. The Lions are going to be playing in Minnesota on Christmas Day at their home, trying to get revenge. I'm going to start with Sister Stephanie, Smack-down Steph. What kind of score are you smacking down for us?
Well, I'm taking the Lions for the W, of course.
Hell yeah.
I think there's a lot of reasons for us to be in our head right now, having lost to them early in the season, coming off our 2 losses in a row, ruining the streak. So I think it maybe makes sense for it to be like 27-23 Lions.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
That's my guess.
All right. Big brother Josh.
I think last time that I predicted 3-0 Lions, we ended up putting up some numbers. So
do 4-0. Why not?
Yeah, let's do 2 safeties. 4-0 because I've done 2-0.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4's next.
All right, 4-0 Lions.
Or a triple dog dare. I should have done that.
All right. So Stephanie, we'll get to you in a second. I just saw your message. I'm so sorry. Cousin Lyle.
Yeah, this is a tough one here. The Lions are going to need to fight and claw their way into this one. They're going to need to show that grit that everyone's talking about. It's been a very disappointing season up to this point. I think that's pretty clear. They still have something to fight for. They still have, the odds are not in their favor. But they need to come back after that Pittsburgh game and get a little revenge on a team that really, I think, did kind of send them into this tailspin. I think that Minnesota loss was the biggest loss of the year for them when you look back on where they were at and where it seemed like things were heading until that game happened. So I am going to go ahead and pick the Lions here. I am going to take the Lions 29-25, kind of a weird score for the Detroit Lions.
Yep, and you're going to see the Detroit Lions on Christmas Day win 26-23. What Why not Jake Bates walk-off field goal like he did in Minnesota last year?
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
So, and those
Give
are
a little Christmas cheer.
So we'll go through really quick. Steph, what was your score prediction again?
I said 27-23, right?
Yep.
You did.
Big brother Josh.
4-0 Lions.
Casino, the house over here, Cousin Lyle himself.
29-25 Detroit Lions.
And we got 26-23 Detroit Lions, giving the full family sweep on Christmas Day. Once again, us coming together as a big ol' Lions-loving family. 'Tis the season after all. And now we're going to get to everybody's favorite segment. Crazy
Even
Play
more
Steve, come on down.
Even more family.
Woo.
Bring them in.
Steve's gonna blow your mind away.
We're here, once again, on the phone with Smack-down Steph, with Cousin Lyle at the casino, the house himself. Big brother Josh had to step away for a moment. And we brought on me, Steph, Josh's dad, Cousin Lyle's uncle-in-law, Crazy Play Steve, our father, wearing the festive Detroit Tigers hat, having just gotten work in at the barn. So welcome once again to the podcast, Dad, and I'll let you have the floor.
Okay, the Tiger thing here is kind of a shout out to the Tigers. Here you have when Jared Goff does the press conference afterwards, he's wearing a Tiger hat. Pretty cool. And then at the game, Tarek Skubal was there.
Best pitcher in baseball. Me and
so
oh, Dad,
tells
sorry,
you
really quick. I had a Pittsburgh fan when he reacted to it. It's like the best pitcher in baseball, and I forgot for a second that Paul Skeens, who is, I would say, the second best pitcher in baseball.
I mean, he's got to earn it a little bit more.
But yeah, it was just 2 years in the league, two Cy Youngs. That was pretty good.
Skubal's pitched right when the big crowd was watching.
Yeah.
You know, the main.
He also showed up to the Michigan State basketball game, and I think he was at the Pistons game that night on Saturday night as well. So definitely doing the tour of Detroit right now.
Hopefully not a
Shout
good
out
farewell
to
tour.
I know.
And the Tigers.
Yep.
Okay. I like to do the good shout-outs first, and my first shout-out is to Jared Goff. No matter what was happening with the game, he was still playing winning football. And I love that with him. And people rag on him some because we don't have a win. Excuse me. But he was firing real good. You know, maybe they were watching St. Brown too close at the end. That would have been nice to have a surprise. But anyway, shout out to him. Really good. Another shout out is to Rory.
Ooh, Rory.
Lions mascot. Lovable lion.
When you talk about the drones, how did that accurate kicker kick one so good he hit the goalpost and then it bounced out?
I was wondering. I had some questions when I saw that happen.
Our man Rory was on the spot.
Yep.
So he gets a shout out.
Great. Now we're going to be under investigation now.
Well, you can investigate all you want.
We'll find them. They're
This
invisible.
is a fun thing, and I kind of make up stuff just to give us a laugh.
Yeah, but we appreciate it. Tis the season, sir.
Yeah. And then the negative shout-outs. I think I had one more positive one, but
Tesla's catch.
Tis the season to be positive.
Tesla's touchdown catch, Dad? Pretty good
I
one?
like it okay, but they could have went back to him. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the first shout-out is to the defensive coordinator for the Lions. Okay. Shepard. How could he let the Pittsburgh Steelers hold on to the ball 9 minutes in the third quarter? How could his team do that? So if you think you're doing your job, you weren't. You let them hang on, and their whole goal was to keep Goff off the field.
And they succeeded.
They succeeded. They succeeded. So anyways, a negative shout-out to him. And the final negative shout-out is to Roger Good Bad Goodell.
No footballs, Goodell.
I'll tell you,
a frequent person in the negative section.
When this guy, how did he get to be the commissioner? Because he doesn't know football. He doesn't know how to be neutral. but he doesn't know football, because if he knew football, he would stick up for the Lions once in a while. So that's a negative shout out to him. Boy, he looks bad when he can't count. When he can't.
Maybe in honor of this week, it's not negative shout outs, it's the naughty list and the nice list.
Exactly. Nice call, Smack-down Steph.
Steph, I need to run things by you. This has grown to I got to run things by these guys, these guys that know all this.
At least we like to think so.
Now you're gonna have to check with her before each
I'm
one as
gonna
well.
have to.
Man, look at the budget. We're getting Crazy Play Steve a writing team. Look at that.
I actually had a fan question for Crazy Play Steve, but I don't know if this is the right time.
Oh,
You can invite her because
this is the section.
This is the section, and we're transitioning from his shout-outs to the Crazy Play itself. So this is a great time to ask a question.
Strong shoulders. Fire away.
My fan question, given what week it is and what holiday we're about to celebrate, I was wondering, and I was expecting maybe some negative shout-outs, and now that I know that it's Roger that you're pointing at, in lieu of, or maybe because Cole could be too mild, what do you think belongs in Roger No Ball's stocking this year?
What should be in there?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think
Complete Idiot's Guide to
bags of
Football.
air that really is farts. and a
Is it a
needle,
stocking full of farts?
and you just have a needle to poke it open.
This is why I asked the expert. So I'm glad I asked.
There's a callback to when the Lions should have all been eating beans.
A lump of coal is not good enough. Or is too good for him, apparently.
Yeah.
No.
He needs a bag of farts.
I think a Complete Idiot's Guide to Football would be a good little book in there,
He doesn't know football.
Do we know if Roger Goodell can read? Just throwing that out there. Do we know for a fact?
I mean, he does get those cards during the draft.
Yeah, but you could also
assuming.
put an earpiece in.
That's true.
So there's my negative thing. So I got two
Just speculating.
crazy plays of the game.
I love it. Can't wait to hear.
Okay, the first one is the Lions, before they took off for Minnesota, got back out on the field again, and any Michigan people that are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, they
There are a
suited
lot
them.
of those, unfortunately.
They suited them up, and they ran that last play that should have happened, and we scored a touchdown. It said on the scoreboard that we were ahead and we won the game. So we go into Minnesota having won the game. The only thing that hasn't happened yet is the front office and good bad guy hasn't called us yet to give us the okay.
So we're eventually going to win that game.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened yet.
That's good.
But they replayed the last part.
They're really dissecting it, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways,
I like that one.
We got to win on that.
All right. So now we're
We
back.
go into Minnesota. We got to win. Okay. Now the one for Minnesota, I'm saying that Golf will score a touchdown.
And not throwing it, you mean either rushing it, receiving, or
getting
intercepting a
or
touchdown maybe
getting-
to play some defense?
Getting a lateral,
A lateral, oh, yeah.
like he did at the end of the game.
Okay.
Imagine
Maybe-
if they didn't call that
So-
back, and that was how we won the game. That would have been
That would
legendary.
have been cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
We'd be talking
So-
about it forever.
Yeah.
I know.
So we got
What a
the
hero.
play replayed. That puts us in good standing. Sorry, Steelers. And then I'm looking for a Golf. They won't give Tesla enough, and they won't give Tom Kennedy anything really. I think he only ran the ball back.
They're scared to
Twice,
kick it to
maybe.
him. There's
They are
like
scared.
3 weeks in a
Yeah,
row
and
they
he's-
barely
he's
kicked
been
him.
he's been frozen out of the pass game.
He's not even in the pass game. But that's my thing on that, and I wasn't at the game, so I might have had a thing or two more.
It's all right, Dad.
So-
Ready for a little curveball, a little gift to you on this holiday episode?
What's that?
We're going to go to the fan caller in, your youngest child, Stephanie, on the phone. Stephanie, what is your crazy play for this game as a part of Crazy Play Steve segment?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Bring it on.
No, I have to come up with a crazy play on the spot.
Putting you on the spot.
Well, I have a crazy play.
Crazy Steffi.
Crazy Steph's
And-
crazy play of the game, and here we go.
My crazy play of the game is that maybe partway through, maybe like if we're down for a little bit, we could use some morale. All of a sudden, we see some guy come out dressed in Honolulu blue, mustache poking through the helmet, and it turns out crazy play Steve himself is going to go score a touchdown for the Lions if they won't do it.
All right.
He gets to play the wide receiver he always wanted to be. And that was Crazy Play Stephanie, caller of the show, fan of the show, beloved sister and relative of us. And guys, thank you so much for all of you joining us on the podcast. Shout out to Big Brother Josh, who apparently didn't have to leave yet. But yeah, we're going to wrap up this episode because we have maybe last minute shopping to do. We have gift wrapping to do.
A little trivia to go.
To. Whatever
I've
you
been
need to do.
actively making cookies the whole time I was on this call.
Making some cookies.
Wow, that
Did
is. You want to talk about multitasking? Way to go, Steph.
I'll send a picture of the thumbprints.
Did you saw that wanted poster that these two cagey guys were out Christmas tree shopping, and
No, hey, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about it. But regardless, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Once again, this is Outside the Den, Inside the Barn, the podcast for Lions fans made by us Lions fans. My name's Jake. Right behind me is Big Brother Josh. Right next to me is Crazy Play Steve. There's Cousin Lyle raking it in at the casino right there. Smack-down Steph, fan of the show, first-time caller on here as well. Merry Christmas to you all, and to you all, a good Lions victory.
God
One
bless
pride.
us,
Go
everyone.
Lions. Stephanie, sign us out.
Merry Christmas.
We want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year! Podcast over. Signing off tonight. Wyatt Intimation. Everything's alright. Tonight, Lions Nation, everything's alright.
All right, now Steph, you actually called in for a reason. You had a fan question, apparently, right?
Yeah, I guess I was just wondering. Truly, I was wondering.
You're wondering. I got
You
that.
are wondering.
In this winter wonderland.
Winter wondering land.
No, I was gonna come up with a question, and then I realized I didn't come up with it before Jake told me to call.
Oh.
So I was trying to come up with one on the spot if that wasn't obvious. I don't really have one. I guess maybe we can cut this part out because
What
I
I'm
didn't have
trying
a
to
funny.
say is Merry Christmas and
I just
Happy
start
New
talking,
Year.
and if I just, I keep saying
I was-
things, and eventually
Yeah.
get around to it.
I was hoping I was going to come up with something there, but honestly, I didn't have a question. I was going to try to I really wanted to ask a question to lighten the mood about next season, but I don't really want to start talking next season yet because I want to. Maybe we'll hold on to that 16% chance for playoffs. So
It's Christmas, Theo. It's the time of miracles.
There it is. Badoom.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for letting me call in.
Yeah,